Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Night Talks with Latasha Scurry, me. Tonight's episode, I will be discussing premature births. If you see on the screen, November is Prematurity Awareness Month. Now, who would have ever thought that I would be discussing this? No one. But I have had experience with this. And I just want to say purple is my favorite color. But tonight it represents something totally different, which is premature births. Now, I did not announce this topic tonight because I had a cancellation. But just so happened, Monday is November 1st, and this is a topic that I can talk about, and it just comes at the right time. So, with November being Prematurity Awareness Month, guess what? I'm going to give you the definition of a premature birth to give you an idea of how I'm going what I'm going to be talking about. So, premature birth is any birth that is before 37 weeks of pregnancy. And before I get into my story, here's what I'm going to say. I have a couple of announcements or housekeeping rules. If you are on Facebook Live, please type your name when you ask a question or leave a comment so I can recognize you. Sometimes Facebook does not put your name up there. But if you know someone who has had a premature birth or you have experienced this yourself, please watch this because I'm going to share some information with you, personal information. No, I am not a doctor. I'm just sharing my story. But if you do not, someone you know is not watching, please send them to my YouTube channel, Domesticated Diva, or you can find it in my Facebook group, which is I Am Strength, or right here on my news feed. So anyone who wants to tune in, and please share this story with someone else who may have experienced this. So again, premature birth is any birth that's before the 37th week. My story starts at week 23. Yes, I gave birth at week 23. I'm not sure if everyone who knows me is aware of this, but I have had this experience. So now, what happened? In 2000, was it? No, 1998 is the year when I had a premature birth. But I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And the beginning starts with my 19th year. I was 19 years old. I was sitting at my desk working at a pest control company. And I get the news from my doctor that my lab work came back abnormal. I had cancer cells on my cervix. So if anyone ever would have told me that I was going to have breast cancer, I would say, oh, no. I was going to have cervical cancer because I was diagnosed with pre-cancer cells on my cervix, which is known as cervical dysplasia. So any doctors out there or nurses out there, if you know what I'm talking about, you can educate people on what cervical dysplasia is. So I'm moving right along. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I am sitting at my desk. I start boohoo crying. I call the one person you're not supposed to call. I call my father and I am boohoo crying. And he's like, baby girl, we got this. Don't cry. Don't cry. So anybody who knows my dad knows he's a little, but he has always been there for me. And for the most part, for the major stuff. So he said, baby girl, we got this. Don't cry. Talk to the doctor, find out what you need to find out. So I find out to the doctor. He goes in, he schedules me to have it removed, the bad cells. So they remove a third of my cervix. Your cervix will grow back. Okay, we're going to fast forward to the age of 22. It comes back. And it's more. So this time they're going to take off half of my cervix. Now, nobody knows what this is going to do to me in the future. I didn't know. So we get to 1998. My husband and I, we are pregnant. We're excited. It's a boy. Woo! And so, with this being a boy, we're excited. We're ready to go. I started having contractions on a Saturday afternoon about 4 o'clock. I didn't know there was contractions. I've never had a baby before. How am I supposed to know I'm going into labor? My mother-in-law was a RN. I should have called her and said, hey, something's going on. But my mom's had 4 kids. She's had 3. I figure I could do this. I can do this. So I go on the whole weekend. Everything is hurting. And I know exactly the time that I went into labor or started having contractions because I lost my, guys, don't freak out, my mucus plug. I was in the bathroom. I used the bathroom. And I go, what is this? Didn't know what it was. So I just kept on my daily adventure, and the pains are getting worse. So by Monday morning, my husband, I'm leaning over the ironing board trying to iron for work, and my husband's going, where are you going like this? And I said, I'm going to work. And just so happened on that Friday, my parents were coming to town. I said, I can't miss any days. I have to go to work. I'm going to take Friday off with my parents. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. If my cousin is watching, Nikki Scurry, it was the same weekend you came, right after you left, immediately walking out of the door. I went into the bathroom. I lost my mucus plugs. So I don't know if you remember this, Nikki, you came to visit us in Port St. Lucie. Okay, so moving right along. That Monday morning, it's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm ironing my clothes. My husband's like, no. We're going to the hospital. So he takes me to the hospital, and I literally get there at 7:30. I'm in a room. They're prepping me, but they're not telling me what's wrong. So all these nurses are coming in, they're giving me IV, and then they start with, we're going to give you some magnesium sulfate. For what reason? Oh, it's a precaution. This is the things they're telling me, not wanting to upset me. So they tell me these are the things that they're giving me to relax me and make sure the baby's okay. The doctor comes in at 9 o'clock. I will not call names because this did not end well. It didn't sit well with me. So I'm not going to call names. So the doctor comes in and she says to me, oh, Miss Scurry, we're just going to make sure that you're comfortable. We're going to get you prepped up. Never saying to me, she says, this is all precautionary. So she whisked out of the way. I am there from 7:30-ish in the morning to 9 o'clock at night when I see the doctor again. And throughout the day, nobody's told me what's wrong, but they're prepping me. They're giving me all this stuff in my IV. So she comes back in at 9 o'clock and she says, you're going to have this baby. And when you do, I can't care for it. So I need you to tell me which hospital you're going to go to, West Palm Beach or Orlando. That's all I heard. And I immediately started bawling. So first person I called was my mother-in-law, and who's an RN. She says, get to the first hospital that they have an available bed. So then I turned to the doctor when she comes back in a few minutes later, and she says, so what it's going to be? I said, the first available bed. She says, well, now I'm going to have to call and find out. I'm like, you didn't do that before you came in and told us all of this? So she calls, okay, Palm Beach is the closest, and they have an available bed. Whatever they do, they put me to sleep, and then they whisk me away to Palm Beach in the ambulance, and I woke up. It was perfect timing as we were pulling up to the hospital. And that's the most sleep I've had all weekend because I didn't sleep all weekend. And to speed up the contractions and everything, not knowing I've never had a baby before, I took a hot bath. That's a no-no. And I learned everything out after, which is hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. I didn't know any of this, but I could have had I just called my mother-in-law earlier. Well, we get to the hospital. They tell me I have the best neonatal doctor in the country. I remember her name, Dr. Graham. She was beautiful. And she's telling me all these things that, at the moment, I just can't process because the doctor just told me I'm having a baby prematurely. I'm 23 weeks. I don't know what that's going to do for the baby. Now, I tell you, they clamp me in upside down. They trying to hold the baby in, and she says to me, if we can get this baby to stay in for another week, which at that time I would be 24 weeks, a baby has a better chance of living and surviving if they're born on an even week versus an odd week. And I'm like, okay, whatever you say, I'll take your word for it. So she clamps me in, turns me upside down, tilt me. Then they come back in and say, we're going to do something called a cerclage to close your cervix up. It's open. And so they take me into surgery, put the cerclage in, and it's not working. It's not working. This is Monday night. Everything is just, they're working into Tuesday and nothing's working. So they finally go ahead and say, hey, you're going to have this baby, and you're in the best place, West Palm Beach NICU unit. If you see it, I'm sorry, on this side, the NICU unit. So I call my parents, which they're now 7 hours away. They're on their way. They're coming. I deliver. He comes out, he urinates. The doctor goes, oh, so his kidneys are functioning a little bit better than we thought they were. So might be a strong chance of him living. His name is Henry West Scurry IV, okay? Because my husband is the third. So we deliver him. I'm not ready for any of this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not prepared. So we don't know what to do. My husband goes and gets clothes from the house, and now we're in a hospital. We're prepared to stay in a hospital for a young baby who's fighting for his life. My husband drives back and forth to West Palm Beach, going to work. I'm still there. My mother-in-law comes down. My parents are there. And so finally everybody leaves, and we are driving back and forth to West Palm Beach every day. Day 19th comes, and I am literally exhausted. I just delivered a baby, and I haven't had a moment's rest yet. I'm pumping milk and breast milk, storing it up, freezing it for whenever, hoping he's coming home. I've had this amazing baby shower thrown by my cousin, Toyana Platt. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, devastation hits, okay? And it took me about 11 years, he would have been 23 now, to talk about this without crying, okay? I am in a good place now. I was not when this first happened, and I'm going to share with you my experience. So my husband, I tell him I'm exhausted. I can't do this. It's a Sunday. Can I just rest? The doctors called and said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Scurry, I am literally just laid on the bed to take a nap, and we need you to come down right now. He's not doing well. We need you ASAP. He needs to hear his mom's voice. Okay. We jump in the car. We ride to West Palm Beach. I get there. I get to hold him because I've not held him yet. I'm holding him. He's doing better, everything. He's perking up. His vital signs shot up. We're excited. My husband needs to go back to work because this is Sunday. So I send him back to work. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law comes down. Andrea Scurry, mother Adrian Scurry come. We're excited. They stay there for most of the night. And they finally leave about 2 o'clock in the morning. At about 5 o'clock, I finally take my last hug and hold, and they provided me with a room next door to the NICU unit. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I finally say, I love you. I give him back to them. They put him in the incubator. I go back into the room to lay down. And as soon as I turn the door to go in, the phone is ringing. I pick it up. It's the NICU unit. Hello, Mrs. Scurry. Yes, he's gone. What do you mean? He has expired. Now, I'm not going to cry right now. I used to. I'm not going to cry because I'm at peace with this. So I did cry when I was there. I bawled. I felt so defeated. I felt like a failure. I felt like all the women I know around me have had multiple babies. Why can't I have one? I really started beating myself up. So the first person I called, and I'm going to tell you, I avoided calling my mother because I felt like a true failure. So the first person I called was my best friend, Latasha Morgan Davis. And my best friend is not a morning person, to say the least. So when she answered the phone, she was like, "Girl, what you calling me for this early in the morning? Good God Almighty." She heard the devastation in my voice. All I said was her name. And she said, "Oh, I know." She said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." She said, "I'm so sorry." That's all she could say. I said, "I love you," and I hung up. I dialed the next number, was my next best friend, Rebecca Hightower Gaines. And when she picked up the phone, she said, she looked at the time. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She knew. I didn't have to say anything. She said, "I'm sorry." She knew. I didn't say anything. I said, "I love you," and I hung up. The next person I called was Mother Adrian Scurry, rest in peace. And she said, "Baby, I'm so sorry." She said, "I love you. I love you." And she hung up. It took me another 10 minutes before I was able to dial that last number, which was to rest in peace, Margaret Washington Bird. I felt like a failure. I felt like this was not supposed to happen. And when my mom answered the phone, all she said to me was, "I love you and it's gonna be okay." Now, I said I wasn't gonna cry. I'm not crying. I'm just getting choked up because I miss my mommy. But she said, "I love you. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay." And I couldn't worry about it because when I was in the room and the last time I held him and gave him a kiss, I said, "God, if he's not going to have a normal, happy life, I'd rather him be with you than to be here with me for selfish reasons." And I let go. I went into the room, and that's when I opened the door and found out the news. So, ladies and gentlemen, what caused this? My doctors said in hindsight, cervical dysplasia caused incompetent cervix. From that point on, I was always considered a high risk patient. So the cervical dysplasia did a couple of things. It made me, whenever I became pregnant afterwards, that I must have a cerclage in between 10 and 13 weeks. So my doctor's like, "If you ever become pregnant again, we need to know right away because we have to insert that cerclage at a certain time to make sure it's effective." Okay. So my next baby, I thought I was out of the woods. I got the cervical, the cerclage, but lo and behold, Chase Raylan Scurry wants to come early. I was on bed rest 4.5 months with Chase. Anybody knows me, that's a long time to be in a bed. I am so antsy. I'm a busybody. I'm a busy bee to lay in a bed. And I mean, literally could not get up, only to go to the restroom and get some food. And most of the time, my husband, this man is amazing, left food right beside the bed so I didn't have to get up. So only time I got up was to use the restroom. And when I got up, I had contractions every single time I got out of the bed. So I was on what we call true bed rest, critical, high alert. It was miserable. But my baby girl is here, healthy, and I love her. So moving right along to Taylor, same ordeal, 10 to 13 weeks, cervical cerclage. They clamp my cervix together because I now have an incompetent cervix. So then I get to, 6 months and I'm rolling. I'm thinking 6.5 months, I'm rolling. Taylor, 2.5 months bed rest for the remainder of the pregnancy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, we women are strong. We are resilient. We are the epitome of strength. So my page My Facebook group that is called I Am Strength, it's not for me. It's dedicated to all these women who go through things, and we have to pick up the pieces and keep rolling. Ladies, God is not going to put no more on you than you can handle. We are stronger than we think we are. We have to put in our mindset that we are strength. Men, you are strong, just in a different way. You're more physical strong. We have to be mental and physically strong, and nothing taken away from my men folk. We can't do this without you. And so I have to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, it can happen to anybody. This experience, if you would just share this with one person that you know who is pregnant, tell them to eat right. If they're doing recreational drugs, drinking, whatever, these are some causes of premature birth, premature labor. Stop it. Be aware of your body. Know what's going on, and consult your physician at any time that you feel like something's not right. Talk. I made a mistake in the beginning by not talking to my doctor and telling them when something was going wrong. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. So please make sure that we're in tune with our bodies. And my young man is buried somewhere at a cemetery in Havana, Florida, next to my cousin. I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted to let you know that this is happening. It's on the rise. I did not know as of 2018, it has risen 10% premature births. And ladies, we just need to talk to each other, be a support whenever something's going wrong with your body while you're pregnant. Talk to your physician. Make sure that they are aware of everything that you're going through, so that they're trained to diagnose and to prescribe, diagnose and prescribe. And my young man was born on February the 11th, and he expired on March 8th. And it was an ordeal that it took me many, many, many years to stop crying over. But my support group around me was extremely strong. The Scurries, I must say, I love you. I love you for working with me and being there. The Birds, I can't express enough of when I need someone, my family is there. So November is Prematurity Awareness Month. If you know anyone, I'm going to say it again, who has experienced premature birth, or know someone who has, you can find this video in 3 locations. It's on my YouTube channel for Domesticated Divas. You can find it in my Facebook group, I Am Strength, and you can find it on my Facebook news feed. November is Prematurity Awareness Month. I love the color purple, but not for this reason. Ladies and gentlemen, we are stronger. Ladies, we are stronger than we give ourselves credit for. It took me about 11 years to stop crying when I told this story. So I'm not going to keep you much longer. I've been on here for about 24 minutes now. And what I am going to say to you, every week I bring topics for everyday people, everyday topics every week. Next week, I have a hot topic. I'm welcoming Tina Caffey, who's going to be talking about interracial marriages. And I think if you have anybody who is going through this, who has lived it, please invite them back to watch my channel, Tuesday Night Talks, 7:00 p.m. every Tuesday, right here on Facebook Live. This is Latasha Scurry. Thank you and good night.